if we know beyond any shadow of a doubt that there is no spying and that your privacy is entirely protected, then you don't need to ban TikTok. The issue is the privacy and security of Americans, because I don't trust the Communist Chinese Party any further than I can throw them. All right, so here, let's go into this, because some people weren't aware. What we were talking about was the hearing on Monday.
Yeah.
The TikTok hearing. That's very different from the bill.
Yes.
Now, from the legislation, which is worrisome. If you don't know about this, I would highly recommend that you go and read it.
Right. And there were multiple that were being floated. Actually, this is where Howley kind of makes up for his earlier thing. He actually had a better version of this that he was trying to get to be the one taken up, but it wasn't. So,
hey, guys, can you guys give me also the vote, what we have from Republicans and Democrats? I don't necessarily know that I have the numbers, because that would be interesting to actually see. So this is the Restrict Act, right? Congress, right? There's been support, or has it?
It hasn't gone yet.
It hasn't gone through. That's right.
Why.
It hasn't gone through. I don't know if there was
they're still proposing different options, but
I read somewhere there's like the list of people who they expect to support it.
Yes.
And it's surprisingly.
Well, it's like co-sponsors and sponsors and people that have signed on to it so far, so it just hasn't gone yet.
Isn't it so funny that we just sort of accept the idea of earmarks? And Bill, for people, you hear this a lot. This is one of those things, because I get if you're tuning into the show, you might not necessarily be a political junkie. Earmarks, right? That means that you can have a bill, okay, that everyone sort of drafts up, they read it, and then they go, oh, yeah, and by the way, just hold on a second. What? I just added $100 million more for a thing that nobody else knows about. Like, good enough for me.
Is it in your district? Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, good. And the bill can be triple the size. Like, this is just something we do. A lot of people don't. You hear the term earmarks. It quite literally means they can just add what they want, and people go, oh, that's another one of them earmarks. No!
How about no?
It'd be like filing your expense report at work. Like, okay, so this is your gas, right, okay, and then this was your mileage, yeah. Wait, what's this? That's the bill for my whole car. I just figured I wanted to put that in there. And it's like, all right,
take care of it all.
It's the law.
That would be something if you put to a referendum. 90% of the country would say, "What, we do that? No, of course not."
Well, that's the thing, is they're not actually representatives on the issues that they should represent you. That's one of those issues where the people should be able to say, the people should be able to control their representatives, right? They should be able to corral them. They can't necessarily vote on every single piece of legislation. They're a representative government. But you certainly should be able to vote on the rules regulating your representatives. So that would be something that you think they're going to vote to get rid of earmarks? It's basically, it's free money. Anyway, sorry. I went off on a tangent there. You guys comment below what you think about earmarks. Maybe there's one guy there who's like, I am super pro
earmark, bro.
Oh, I've now met you, pro earmark Todd.
Well, it's not always an appropriations thing. Sometimes it's just an ideological thing where and you have to vote against it because someone else stuck something in there that you're against.
And by the way,
he voted down.
Exactly. That's another. It's a political tool as well. Where you go, okay, all right. For example, this is the don't smack babies that aren't yours or yours bill. Like, don't slap babies in the face bill.
Which anyone would support, right?
People are like, okay, that's good. Yeah, and they would say, oh, we have unanimous support on Capitol Hill, right? But then AOC puts in like, and by the way, free cocks for children. And you're like, no. They go, you believe in slapping babies?
That's right. How dare you, sir?
Well, I'm not signing it unless that's in there.
Yeah, I'm not signing it unless that's in there. Oh, gosh. And, well, she has a vested interest, too. That's why she was slapped a lot. That's why she's googly. So here's the most popular choice of the TikTok proposed bills, and really one that you should be aware of. It's the Restrict Act.
But he's talking about TikTok and the ability of that platform to be used by the Communist Party both to take on data, but also potentially as a malign influence and propaganda tool. We need a more comprehensive approach to evaluating and mitigating these threats posed by these foreign technologies from these adversarial nations. The Restrict Act would give the Secretary of Commerce the authority and the responsibility to identify and counter threats from foreign technology products and services in the U.S. A series of mitigation tools given to the Secretary up to and including the opportunity to ban. Truth is, with 100 million Americans daily on TikTok on an average of 90 minutes a day, this is an issue.
Okay, just to be clear, my position is if we know beyond any shadow of a doubt that there is no spying and that your privacy is entirely protected, then you don't need to ban TikTok. The issue is the privacy and security of Americans, because I don't trust the Communist Chinese Party any further than I can throw them. So when people try to say, oh, you're pro-free speech, until no, this isn't a speech issue. It's an actual security issue, right? Now, the problem is that's used by those on the left and those fake Republicans to then shoehorn in a total invasion, ironically, of your privacy and security. So it's been introduced by Mike Warner, okay, who's a Democrat from Virginia, and John Thune, Republican from South Dakota. It's named the Restricting the Emergence of Security Threats That Risk Information and Communications Technology Act.
Jeez.
I hate the way they name these things.
Can you please just name it something simple and easy for us?
Yeah.
That's too long.
Because they're always naming it for the acronym.
But it's the Restrict Act.
It's the Restrict Act.
Good.
I hope someone just accidentally spells one. It's like the I'm an asshole act.
Well, you just let the Democrats name it because they're better with language than we are. Affordable Care Act, pro-choice.
Yeah,
they're real.
True,
slick.
they are.
Child affirming care.
Yes.
We need better marketing on these bills. That's
Yes,
what
we
it
do.
is.
We're awful on our
We need
side.
better marketing. So March 7th, the bill was introduced. By the way, weeks before the hearing, just to be clear. Other sponsors of the bill include Mitt Romney. I'm going to pull a Biden with Mitt Romney. If he's for it, I'm probably against it.
Now, is that the Michigan Mitt Romney or the Massachusetts?
No.
Massachusetts.
No.
Yeah, it's the Utah.
Utah
It's the Utah Mitt Romney. Yeah, the Utah Mitt Romney.
The carpetbagger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mitt Romney.
Okay.
Yes.
Not to be confused with Muncher.
Yeah, yes, that's a totally different animal.
That's Rosie O'Donnell, and she's not in office. I don't even know why you brought that up, Gerald.
Yeah, weird.
So the National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan praised the bill, saying, "This legislation would empower the United States government to prevent certain foreign governments from exploiting technology services operating in the United States." Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Stopping the CCP from spying on us through TikTok, great. Okay, I agree with that. That's what we talked about on Monday. But the details of the bill, well, a lot of them have nothing to do with that. So let me give you, I think it's 3 kind of fast facts so you know. And you can check all references at louderwithcrowder.com. Here's fact number 1. Okay. The bill is incredibly broad. Now, here's the purpose of the legislation. It's described as authorizing the Secretary of Commerce, and that's going to come back. This is key here. Get ready to put your tinfoil hat on, because at the end of this segment, before we go to Rumble, this tin can I'm about to hit, it's going to knock out a couple of teeth. All right. To authorize a Secretary of Commerce to review and prohibit certain transactions between persons in the United States and foreign adversaries and for other purposes.
I love that last part.
And for other purposes.
Yes.
What purposes? Well,
other.
It could be anything in there.
It's like, why do we allow laws?
What are the purposes? You mean like paying for a congressional bowling alley? Well, I didn't expect you to pay for a whole damn bowling alley. But
Whatever purposes we want.
Yes.
and other things that we cannot. As much flowery language as they use in these bills, as long as these things are, they're like, and other stuff.
And other stuff. Well, hold on a second. What do you plan on purchasing? It's a lamp. What a great lamp. How much did it cost a taxpayer? $14,000. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a little bit of red tape
Really?
there. So what exactly constitutes a transaction? Here we go. And we're joking about it, but here's the technical term, and what we just said was just as accurate of a description. The term covered transaction includes any other transaction. Son of a bitch. The structure of which is designed or intended to evade or circumvent the application of this act, which, by the way, is designed to restrict transactions. So any transactions would be intending to evade or circumvent the application of this act, subject to regulations prescribed by the Secretary. Okay, here's the crazy thing. Okay, here's another fast fact for you that might blow your mind. Under this bill, right, defining all the terms and the punishments of these transactions, it's up to the Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, okay? Now, the Secretary, just to be clear, so this is where they talk about the authorization.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Secretary is, quote, authorized to and shall take action to identify, deter, disrupt, prevent, prohibit, investigate, or otherwise mitigate. It's like Jackie Childs. It is to disrupt, prohibit, investigate, and mitigate. Straight negotiate. Entering into or imposing and enforcing any mitigation measure to address the risk. No need for congressional approval. Hey, remember where we've been this? Oh, remember the wars that you guys all loved and supported, and no one regrets that later on. Here's what's so odd. Right, we're talking about the Secretary of Commerce, right? We're talking about
Raimondo.
Said just a couple of weeks ago, here's a quote, said, passing a law to ban a single company is not the way to deal with the issue, referring to TikTok. The politician in me thinks you're literally going to lose every voter under 35. So we are giving all of the power regarding all of the transactions online to someone who doesn't want to ban TikTok, all in the name of banning TikTok? Think about that. So this is what happens. This is why you don't trust your institutions, right? And then they'll blame us. They'll blame the media. No, you don't trust them because, Chinese spyware, that's a bad thing. I know Eric Swalwell was, getting BJs in the back of his sex dungeon with like 19 Chinese spies. I think we should probably keep that to a minimum. And we go, hey, yeah, good, common ground.
Sense.
We say, hey, representatives, can you help us? They go, yes, yes. We can ban TikTok. Great. And they go, here's the bill. Well, wait a second. This doesn't ban. This bans this is all transactions, and you're giving the power to a woman who didn't even want to ban TikTok. And wait, she can and my PayPal's been shut down. How did that happen? Well, you said you wanted Swalwell to stop banging Chinese spies, didn't you? What?
Didn't say how.
How did we get here?
No, it makes perfect sense. It'll just give me all of the power to do this.
Right. Here's another fast fact you need to know. Again, let's provide you some context. All references are available at LighthouseCrowder.com. Is there any kind of precedent for this? Well, remember the Patriot Act? After 9/11, Congress passed the Patriot Act with, by the way, overwhelming bipartisan support. And at one point in time, you probably would have counted me amongst them, to my everlasting shame. We've talked about this. It basically removed the need for agencies like the FBI to prove any kind of probable cause, right? The search order would be granted as long as the FBI certifies that the search is, quote, to protect against international terrorism, right? The FBI would not need to meet the stronger standard of probable cause. So what happened with the Patriot Act was, in the name of national security, they could now listen to your phone calls. They could now, search and seizures. They could violate your constitutional rights. And there's been a rebound effect where people say, oh, maybe we went too far with that. Now we're applying this digitally, and not just to terrorist threats, but transactions.
Yeah.
Transactions, if they suspect that there might be something dealing with an international entity. By the way, you combine this with a centralized digital currency that the government wants, it's game over. It's game over for the country.
Yeah,
just to
absolutely.
Be clear.
And do me a favor, research team, I think I'm thinking of this name correctly, but I'm going to sound like an idiot if I'm not. But with the Patriot Act, wasn't there something also called like Magic Lantern or something like that they were using to gather all of the phone call information to be able to listen to that? That was kind of piggybacked off of that as well, under the guise of national security.
I think you're thinking
something
of Magic
like
Dragon, and that was his friend who lived by the sea.
Well, that Puff. No, that was the hotel. That's
right.
not Puff. It's Magic Lantern.
I believe
something
it was
like
Magic
that.
Lantern. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a Magic Lantern here. Revealed a report of the FBI's new key logging Trojan analysis, its possible treatment in a dynamic legal landscape. So yeah.
So I was right. So that this is not that the Patriot Act was the first thing, and then other things just come right after it. Same thing with this. Right. You're opening the door.
Hey, by the way, do you know how I know that Mike Pence is never going to be within sniffing distance of the presidency? Here he is right now on CNN. Pence non-committal on if he will appeal order to testify. Let's see what they say really quickly.
But he did eke out a little bit of a win here in that he did get to have the judge agree with him that the vice presidency does have some protections around it, particularly the protections that members of Congress have.
Boy, these politicians don't. This is why Donald Trump will probably get the nomination.
Yeah.
These politicians don't know how to deal with it. What you just do is you say, no, go screw yourself. Even if you don't like Trump personally, Pence, you go screw yourself. I'm done. Look, I'm done. I did what I did. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, eat my. That's what you do.
He's such a post. He has no chance.
Oh my gosh.
Good values guy for sure, but he doesn't have the personality to ever make a comment like that. He's so measured.
I should like him, and I don't.
Yeah.
So the Restrict Act, going back to this, by the way, it gives bizarrely similar powers to the Commerce Secretary. This is what it says: she can designate any entity as a foreign adversary without notifying Congress.
Oh, good.
Hey, hold on a second. As a foreign adversary, what did this administration say was the greatest threat to our national security at one point?
That would be the domestic terrorism from white people.
And we didn't even rehearse that.
We didn't.
He just remembers it. Yep, white supremacy. So if they say, "Oh wait, hold on a second. You're running a farm yourself. You're doing homesteading. Right. Ooh, you might be in a militia group. Ooh, by the way, all of these militia groups. I mean, not counting the 75% of whom are actually FBI agents. They're actually white supremacists. So now the Secretary of Commerce can decide that they're going to spy on you because it's a foreign adversary, which of course would also include threats to national security. Right. No notification to Congress. Yeah.
Also,
this is all to ban TikTok.
Yeah, we also declassified parents protesting at the school board meetings.
That's right.
And there's nothing in there to really protect against China. I mean, there's not.
They're going to
unless
use
it
the
goes
language.
away.
They're going to use the language to go after China, but there are a lot of things that it can do. I mean, you nailed it on the head there with cryptocurrency. You can basically say like, hey, we can shut off potentially all the cryptocurrency in the world. We can shut off open source software from everywhere else in the world. Like, there's a lot of problems with this that people are like, hey, hold on. This allows for that, and there's no redress. Like, you have to go to the D.C. Circuit Court if you have an issue.
Well, you can't even use a FOIA. You can't even use a FOIA request, by the way, to find out when the Restrict Act is used.
And then you have to make a constitutional argument in that case. Right. And so there's no real way to hold them accountable.
Well, Mitt's on the scene. You should be. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
he's getting.
There it is.
He's getting there in record time with his dog on the roof. So, and this, by the way, just so you know, you lived this in real time because of emergency powers being used. That's why you'll never get an accurate metric on COVID deaths. We couldn't get it from Michigan, right? It was emergency. Wait, hold on. How many people were actually put in old folks' homes? We don't have to give you those numbers. Well, hold on a second. Legally, you're required to actually respond to FOIA requests. No, we don't because of emergency powers. In this case, you wouldn't have to. Basically, it would be exempt from that. So you can't find out when it's used. They can spy on anybody, not just spy, but then restrict your ability to exchange money. And let's go to another one. Let's go to fact 4 here. This is what's so scary, because I know you're saying, okay, this was used in the United States, the Patriot Act. No, it's even worse than that. It is eerily similar to the Hong Kong security bill.
Yes.
Right? So let's go back to this. Remember in 2020, China passed its own overarching, are you good there, Tillman? I see you there.
Yeah.
Its own overarching security bill. Here we have a clip.
Well, the law is being imposed by Beijing after no meaningful consultation with Hong Kong. That's a significant change. And the law bans treason, secession, sedition, subversion, and indeed leaves room for anything deemed a threat to national security. This inevitably changes what can and can't be said and done in Hong Kong.
Okay, so let's compare that to the Restrict Act. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, Restrict is an acronym. We're represented by assholes. Just everything, and this is the thing too. Like people are like, I want to get into I get that all the time. I want to get into politics. I want to get into podcasting. I can't stand being in the room with most of these. I emceed CPAC for 4 years in a row. Actually, it was 4 years spread over 5 because I got violently ill and I was pooping my guts out.
The toilet bowl has never recovered
in DC, and I was just like, I hate being here. Everyone is trying to get put over by someone else. As a general rule, they are not there to represent you. An exception, Rand Paul. And he still irritates me. But on policy, that's kind of, I would say, the best example that we have. He does a pretty damn good job and he's remarkably consistent. Okay. Here's the Restrict Act. The act is designed to, quote, prohibit certain transactions between persons in the United States and foreign adversaries or for other purposes. Again, we go back to we just gave you the rundown. Let me read you the Hong Kong security law. A person who conspires with or directly or indirectly receives instructions, control, funding, or other kinds of support from a foreign country or an institution. And by the way, that can include domestic citizens, just like the Restrict Act. Yeah. It is remarkably similar to this bill that we're talking about, the bill that was passed there, right? The Hong Kong security law. And now you have the Restrict Act in the United States, all under the guise of banning TikTok, which, by the way, it may or may not do.
Right. Not sure if it will accomplish the sole purpose of this bill.
Yes. Now, here's what I will say. Josh Hawley, I disagree with him on the hate crime thing earlier, but usually he gets it right. He introduced a bill to ban TikTok. It's called the No TikTok on United States Devices Act.
It's kind of clever.
But that's not a good acronym. It doesn't really work. But you don't need the acronym because I see it and I go, okay, I understand it. No TikTok on United States Devices Act. I mean, that's your elevator pitch.
You know a Republican named that.
Yes. Right, yeah. And you can sit down and go, okay, hold on a second, Miss Senator Hawley. Yeah, let me ask you this. With this bill, would TikTok be allowed on devices in the United States? No, they would not. All right, hold on a second, but let me finish. Would they be allowed on some devices in the United States? None whatsoever. Okay, but I have one final question. Would there be some exceptions for the spyware TikTok as it relates to devices in the United States? Absolutely not. Well, good enough for me. Done. I think we've made it through.
Case closed, bill passed. Yes, here we go.
But the other bill wants to have control of your PayPal and likely access to your Ring cameras. All of it without having to notify you. Jeez. And it gives all of the authority to a commerce secretary who doesn't want to ban TikTok anyway. And by the way, doesn't want to ban TikTok because of a voting base of dumb under 30-year-olds, not even because of a moral objection.
We're so screwed.
By the way, the No TikTok on the United States Devices Act, just to make clear, it's entirely devoted to TikTok and ByteDance. That's it.
Perfect.
Nothing else.
That's all it should be.
That's all it is.
Stop giving yourself more and more and more and more power, right? We don't need Trojan horse bills for you to go and later and say, hey, we don't like the fact that cryptocurrency is doing well and we want to create our own and lock out everybody else. I get it.
It's the biggest scam going.
I understand. I'm just saying you get to do what you want to do with the crypto thing, but every government in the world's probably going to introduce one.
Well, yeah,
meaningfully.
Yeah, of course. It's already being heavily regulated, and then it's going to be even more regulated. But imagine a centralized digital currency and the ability to shut down all of your currency.
Just with the flip of a switch, you want to be in China where you can't leave the country because you don't have the green app. Instead, you have the red one because you're posting too many memes of cats on YouTube.
Yeah, well, I don't really think it's a flip of a switch anymore. It'd be like a click of a mouse.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.